What's up guys, Ivan Carranza here and welcome to Bass Tone Tuesday. Today we're gonna talk about old school bass distortion. Now, while listening to the track, you might have noticed that maybe the bass wasn't really that distorted, right? I mean, in the whole mix, you don't really hear like a buzz or a chainsaw-like distortion or overdrive. But here's how the bass sounds like on its own. As you can hear, it definitely has quite a bit of distortion, quite a bit of breakup, right? It sounds kind of farty, but it blends really well in the mix. And, you know, back in the day before we had digital recording gear and, I don't know, preamps and pedals and whatnot, the analog gear that people used to record introduced some breakup and some harmonic distortion. And I'm gonna show you what I did, what I applied to that signal to make it sound like that. And this is how my bass sounds like on its own. I am going with the G&L. I'm playing, right now you see this little pedal here, which we're gonna talk about in a minute, but I'm just playing to my Noble DI and then into a Neve 1073 channel strip without any EQ. And this is how it sounds like. Right? It's pretty clean, there's nothing happening there. So what I did for that track is that I used another instance of that Neve channel strip, but I cranked the gain quite a bit to introduce some saturation. And then I used an Ampeg SVT plugin made by Plugin Alliance and Brainworks, and I pushed the gain and the volume quite high to get that growly breakup. And in reality, if you were to do that with a real amp, it would be way too loud, right? So luckily we have plugins nowadays that enable us to do the same thing. Now you might wonder, okay, that's all cool, you know, you have your plugins, but what if I want to use that in my bedroom or to use it in a gig? You know, I can just bring my laptop. Now, the cool thing is now there are pedals that get us pretty close to that sound. And that is when this little guy, for example, comes into play. This is the Tech 21 YYZ pedal. There are other great distortion pedals out there. For example, the ones by Darkglass are great, or Tech 21 pedals also work amazing. And there are other companies that make great stuff and then can get you that, you know, not like super piercing sharp distortion, but can get you that warm amp-like or tube amp-like distorted tones. And to demonstrate, I recorded the same track using this pedal. And this is how the signal sounds right now on its own. Right? So let's check out how the bass sits in the mix with that pedal. Now, I know you can't see the settings right now here, and to be honest, after listening back and having done the recording, I think I went a bit too high on the mid control, but all I'm doing here is the clean signal. I'm boosting some drive to get breakup. I'm adding some treble to get some more snap. And I think I had the mid control around here before. I think it could have gone like more with this. Or like there probably, so not that much. And I have the bass or the lows set flat, and I have the mix control a tiny bit towards the drive side. And the tight switch is disengaged to get that full spectrum of distortion. Like this. Right? So that gives you that like fat, chunky, maybe you call it farty type of distortion, but it sounds really good with all the instruments. And you might be wondering, okay, that's a rock song, but can you use that for other things? And the answer is yes. You can use drive, like not a whole lot, but you can use drive for other type of music or for softer songs. For example, that is, for example, Come Together by the Beatles, and there was not a whole lot of drive, but there is a little bit of breakup happening there, which gives you, first of all, a bit more sustain. It also creates a bit of compression, natural compression, and gives you a bit more warmth. So let's try to get something similar with this pedal right now. So this is the position right now. This is a bit too aggressive already. So I'm turning back the highs to flat. close my tone control. This might be a bit too much drive. I'm just gonna pull a bit back. So it's not overly aggressive, but it gives you a bit of warmth, and also, you know, it just makes the bass a bit wider in the whole mix if you use a bit of breakup. I guess the point of this video is to show that if you want to, you might be able to get away with a bit more drive on your sound to make the bass sit in the mix a bit better. And like I said, if you want to, you can definitely play just with a clean signal. But if you're already using drive, you might be able to bump up that gain, that drive knob a little higher, because as you could hear before, you don't perceive the bass as being like overly distorted in some cases, or in most cases, unless you're using like a very piercing like type of distortion. But like I said earlier as well, a lot of old recordings, and especially on the isolated tracks, you hear a lot of breakup, a lot of saturation happening that was induced by preamps, channel strips, or tube amps. So you might be able to bump up that distortion or drive a bit higher. I hope you guys liked the video. Let me know what you think in the comments. And also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with the content that's coming to the channel. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.